Right now at 10, mail workers across the country are protesting. Tonight's message from Wisconsin's USPS employees for the president.
More details are released 6 months after the death of a missing McFarland woman. We'll look at the resources available to other survivors of domestic abuse.
And unemployment figures are released, what the numbers mean for Wisconsin's workforce. That is all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening, and thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm Sarah Carlson.
And I'm Eric Franke. Mail carriers across the country are protesting after President Trump suggested privatizing the United States Postal Service.
Our Maddie Heimsch delivers the message of postal workers right here in Wisconsin.
There's one resounding message in downtown Janesville tonight as more than 100 people gather in demonstration to say U.S. mail is not for sale.
U.S. mail! Not for sale! This is service.
Sherry Dorsey is the president of the local union branch for the National Association of Letter Carriers. She's also been delivering mail for 20 years.
We're here to serve the public, and that's what we want to do.
She says turning the public service into a business is the wrong route to take, both for carriers and customers.
Of course, the prices are going to go up. You know, right now it's 73 cents to send a letter from here to Hawaii. Well, it'd probably be a lot more if it was privatized.
But it's not those letters to Hawaii retired carrier Bob Luke is worried about. The USPS delivers to nearly 169 million addresses around the country. He doubts a private business would do the same.
And a private corporation would not serve a lot of rural, remote areas in the country.
But in a time where government spending is being closely monitored, funding is a struggle.
First-class mail has really been reduced, but it's still there.
Due in part to the decline of physical mail, the USPS reported a net loss of $9.5 billion in fiscal year 2024. But in the first quarter of 2025, the service saw a net income of $144 million. Supporters in Janesville say that thanks to that positive financial trend and the day-to-day work of the carriers,
we as postal carriers, we really care about our customers.
They don't need the government's help to be the total package. Reporting in downtown Janesville, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
Well, we're getting closer to the weekend, and that means more rain is on the way.
Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington is on the weather patio. No, he's not. He's
Surprise!
right here inside.
I'm inside, yes. Would have been a quick costume change to get out to the patio for the start of our show here. But you have everything all correct. We've got rain on the way. We got rain as early as the wee hours of tomorrow morning as a warm front comes through. And as you take note behind me, take a look at these bars, how tall they are on Saturday going on into Sunday. We've got a washout weekend ahead of us, folks, in southern Wisconsin. But let's get to radar 3000 right now. Not showing anything out there, although if you look way off to the west, real over northeast Iowa, there's just a little green blip. That's the start of things to come. We're going to have showers and some scattered thunderstorms rapidly develop. Watch this as we get to roughly 2-3 in the morning. Look at that in southwest Wisconsin. A quick area of showers and thunderstorms developing. Of course, Savannah will be here at that point in time. We can't rule out the chance that one or two of those storms could give us some hail. I think small hail, pea size, would be the largest we get, but we can't rule out one or two of those cells to get on the feisty side. So if there is a severe thunderstorm warning, it likely will be few and far between, but we cannot rule out that chance. Then that thunderstorm threat moves way to the north up towards Baraboo, Camp Douglas, Wautoma, Fond du Lac as we go into the later morning hours, and then way up to northern Wisconsin as we go through the rest of Friday as a strong warm front comes through. Temperatures well into the 70s, if not near 80 degrees. Coming up in Maine weather, I'm going to track the cold front coming through Friday night and that transition to rain, that transitions to snow on Sunday. That's in a couple of minutes.
All right, Alex, thank you. Mount Horeb police are investigating after a bomb threat is made at a national pharmacy chain store. This morning, officers were called to the Walgreens store near Springdale Street for reports of a bomb in that store. Police say the reporting individual said they received a phone call with vague information about a possible explosive device at the location. The building was searched, nothing was found. An investigation into the threat is ongoing.
We are now learning more about the man charged in the death of 24-year-old Brooke Stratton from McFarland.
Our Meryl Hubbard shows us the graphic statements from the criminal complaint and resources for those experiencing domestic violence.
Brooke Stratton was last seen on September 30th in the area of Odana Road and Whitney Way with a male acquaintance. Madison police found her body in a pond on UW-Madison Arboretum property on October 3rd. The man last seen with Stratton is 25-year-old James Barnes Morris. He's charged with first-degree intentional homicide and a domestic abuse modifier. MPD's criminal complaint gives alleged comments he made the night of her disappearance. The alleged comments include, "I had to get rid of her. She knew too much. The lilies made it hard. And I need another brick and a rope." The complaint says that a person heard Barnes Morris make those comments and noticed him with several large scratches on his legs at a gathering September 30th. Faye Zemmel from Domestic Abuse Intervention Services says,
"That's sort of like the biggest fear, right? Is that you would be harmed to the point that your life would be lost or that you would be killed."
It takes an average of 7 attempts for a survivor to leave their abuser and stay separated.
Abuse can really escalate when the abusive partner really feels like they're losing that power and control. So leaving a relationship is a very dangerous time potentially.
But she says Days is just one call away.
Days provides life-saving services. If somebody is reaching out to us, we meet everyone where they're at.
Barnes Morris is now in Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun and will make his initial court appearance Friday afternoon. As for Stratton, her memory is not lost on the community. Reporting in Madison, Meryl Hubbard, News 3 Now.
And if you are experiencing any issues with domestic violence, the number for Domestic Abuse Intervention Services is right there on your screen.
The Minnesota man charged in a Wisconsin cold case murder says he plans to plead guilty. John Keith Miller is awaiting trial for the 1974 murder of Mary Schlace. She was hitchhiking to Chicago for an art show on a February morning half a century ago or more, when police say she was picked up by a driver with evil intentions. Mary was stabbed to death and dumped on a dead-end road off of I-94 near Menominee. Also left behind, the killer's stocking cap.
I didn't know I left it there until I saw the pictures.
And when you saw the pictures, did you recognize that it was your hat?
Yep, yes I did.
Investigators say this is one of the oldest cold cases in the country to ever be solved while the suspect is still alive. Although his case is pending, Miller says there will not be a trial.
The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources is recruiting for its 2026 class of wardens. The DNR will begin accepting applications from April 10th through May 6th. The department expects to hire about 10 full-time wardens for the upcoming class. Successful applicants will begin their training in January or April of next year. A virtual webinar to discuss the hiring and training process will be held April 22nd.
Today, the Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development released the state's unemployment figures for February. According to the report, total non-farm jobs decreased by 6,200 positions over the month, but increased by 8,800 over the year for a total of more than 3 million jobs. The seasonally adjusted unemployment rate remained unchanged at 3.2%. That is nearly a percentage point lower than the national unemployment rate, which sits at 4.1%. And Governor Tony Evers opened a new tool to help workers impacted by federal layoffs. That portal can be accessed on the Department of Workforce Development's website. And other workers seeking unemployment opportunities can also use the site. The Evers administration is holding a series of 8 new virtual job fairs as well throughout the month of April to help laid-off workers.
President Trump announcing new 25% auto tariffs beginning next week on all imported passenger vehicles. Those fees would apply to vehicles like SUVs, minivans, light trucks built outside the United States, as well as key auto parts, including engines, transmissions, and electrical components. Analysts say the cost of a new car built entirely outside the U.S. could add $6,000 to the price tag.
And I think anybody that is having to repair their vehicle or just service their vehicle are going to experience higher costs as well. And probably insurance. You think you get into one accident, that's a lot of parts. Those are all going to be affected by the tariff.
Auto industry executives say they support the idea of making more cars in America, but increasing the nation's manufacturing capabilities will take some time and also billions of dollars in investments, all of which may be passed on to the consumer.
The president is also threatening reciprocal tariffs on Canadian lumber right now. Amid the ever-changing tariff threats, thousands of Southern California wildfire victims wonder what these measures could mean for their rebuilding efforts after the Palisades and Eaton fires. Last year, the U.S. sourced nearly 25% of softwood lumber from Canada, a material critical to home construction.
Lumber obviously is a big expense of building a home. It's about 10 to 20% of the overall cost of a house.
It takes years to build the supply chain. You need more sawmills. You can't build sawmills tomorrow.
The U.S. has roughly 300 billion trees, but an investment to make the infrastructure to process those trees could cost up to $400 million.
A group of scientists right here in Madison say they've cracked the code to bring commercial fusion power to the masses. Research has been going on for many years looking to bring fusion power, the same process by which our sun works, to commercial viability. The company behind the project, Type 1 Energy, conducted more than 70,000 simulations on a fusion power plant it designed. It says the simulations validate that once built, the machine will work to create fusion power.
What we can claim here is that there are really no showstoppers. The physics is going to work as well as we can predict, with very high confidence that this will deliver the needs required of a fusion pilot plant.
The next step forward is to continue building a working power plant. Type 1 has said it expects to get to that point in the next decade and hopes to bring a clean power source to the masses.
A sequel to a popular Wisconsin Dells Beer Festival is kicking off next month. Signature Springtime Sips is set to kick off on April 26th. It's a follow-up to the popular annual Fall Craft Beer Festival held by the Dells on Tap. This spring event looks to celebrate the artisanal brewery industry by providing samples from a wide variety of beers.
It's a little bit more intimate than the event like the one that's held in Madison, for instance, which is, huge. This gives you a chance to actually meet the local brewers and talk to them and, kind of talk shop if you're into craft beer. And it's, there's food and music going on, and we expect it will be a really fun event.
And general admission for the festival is $50, including a tasting mug. A link to purchase this can be found on our website, channel3000.com.
The wine and spirits retailer is hosting its first ever Midwest Spirits celebration. Waterford Wine and Spirits, bringing together some of the top craft distillers from the Great Lakes region. It runs in Fitchburg on April 12th from noon to 3 p.m. Attendees will have a chance to taste more than 50 different spirits made throughout the Midwest.
We have farm to table with restaurants, but farm to bottle spirits, where you grow everything on a local farm. Some people are growing their own and then distilling those grains. Some people are sourcing from local farms that are within a few miles of the distillery.
In addition to the tastings, guests will meet blenders, distillers, and craftspeople from some of the top producers. There will also be exclusive discounts on bottles during the event, making it the perfect time to stock up on Midwest-made spirits.
Time is running out to vote for the local veteran you think is deserving of the Spirit of Service Award. Our partners at Vortex narrowed the more than 200 nominations down to the final 5. Voting is now open on channel3000.com through March 30th, and you can look for these stories on News 3 Now and our mobile app. A winner will be announced April 2nd, and that person takes home $5,000, again presented by Vortex.
News 3 Now is continuing to highlight local trailblazers during Women's History Month, and today we're introducing you to Pranisha Clifton, the founder of a nonprofit right here in Madison called Seein' is Believin'. It focuses on challenging negative mental health stigmas with children. Outside of her organization, Clifton also went through a lot herself. She is the first black woman to sing in Mandarin at a Chinese opera house and is also a former policy writer at the UW. Clifton did all of this while battling chronic illnesses.
I have a couple of them. I have ankylosing spondylitis, so your body's like constantly attacking itself and causing even more pain. Then I have fibromyalgia, which fibromyalgia intensifies pain that's already there or creates pain that never existed. That eventually led to my medical retirement from the universities because I was having to go through so many treatments and I wasn't able to be all that I needed to be in my position. I'm still one of the best in spite of every diagnosis. So it allows me to talk to children and say, there are no excuses. If I can get up here and tell you that life is unfair and I'm still managing to work through the unfairness, you can too.
Clifton also writes books so everyone can be resistant, can be a battler and just live out their dreams.
Coming up on News 3 Now at 10, the United States Postal Service unveils a brand new stamp.
And more federal layoffs are on the way, how the cuts are impacting the Department of Health and Human Services.
watching News 3 Now at 10.
President Trump is asking Representative Elise Stefanik of New York to stay in Congress.
With the GOP holding a razor-thin majority in the House, President Trump says every Republican seat is essential to advance his agenda. As he considers other potential nominees for UN ambassador, the president is also pushing ahead with his efforts to slash the size of the government. Health and Human Service Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. took to social media to announce mass layoffs within his department.
Part of President Trump's DOGE workforce reduction initiative, we're going to streamline HHS to make our agency more efficient and more effective.
The department is cutting 20,000 employees from its payroll. That is nearly a quarter of the entire agency. HHS officials say about half of those workers took buyouts or early retirement.
Vice President J.D. Vance will join his family on a trip to Greenland tomorrow amid rising tensions with the territory. The U.S. military base that Vice President Vance will visit is critical to America's defense because it's near the shortest route for Russian ballistic missiles to reach the U.S. over the Arctic. But some Greenlanders say it's not Russia that worries them, but the leadership in Washington.
It's very scary for me. So, like, he can do whatever he wants, kind of. Yeah, so it's very scary.
He says he wants national security, but I don't believe him.
What do you think he really wants?
Something else that he's hiding.
According to a recent poll, 85% of Greenlanders say they do not want to be a part of the United States.
Experts took a closer look today at the deadly collision between a commercial airplane and military helicopter back in January. A Senate subcommittee held a hearing to look over the National Transportation Safety Board's report. The crash at Reagan National Airport in Washington killed 64 people on the plane and 3 on the helicopter. The head of the FAA said nearly all aircraft flying near that airport will be required to broadcast their position. The helicopter involved in that crash was equipped with the right technology, but it was not transmitting.
Starting today, some seniors could have their entire monthly Social Security checks withheld. That's due to accidental overpayments. The Social Security Administration pays benefits to about 70 million Americans a month. Officials say fewer than 1% receive more than they should. Business analysts add that there is something you can do if you're in that small group and can't afford to take the hit.
You can actually appeal the decision if you think it's been made an error. And to be clear, the error can be on either side. It could be me, the Social Security recipient, not saying I've got a change in status. Something happened. My check is actually more. Or it could be the government. We goofed.
Now, to resolve any Social Security related issues, visit ssa.gov and be sure to alert the government if your check is larger than usual.
Well, Golden Girls actress Betty White could be smiling at you when your mail arrives. Today, the U.S. Postal Service unveiled its newest First Class Forever stamp bearing the likeness of the beloved late actress. The stamp celebrates White's career in radio, TV, and film, spanning almost 7 decades. Great picture of her, too. White's stamp was first delivered to the Los Angeles Zoo, where the animal lover was a longtime supporter and member of that board. Well, it is set to be a rain-filled weekend for much of southern Wisconsin.
Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington is here now with any of these storms, if they'll turn severe over the weekend, Alex.
Let's start off with the weekend. Saturday going on into Sunday. We got 56 on Saturday. That's an early high temperature. Rain develops, falling temperatures. Then on Sunday, 45 degrees. It could be a little bit warmer than that. I'm going to talk more about Sunday. We've got some changes in our weather models to relay to. First, to let you know that we could be looking at a little bit of a severe weather potential on Sunday for parts of the area. First, let's start off with round number 1 of showers and thunderstorms over the course of the next couple days at midnight. Watch what happens in Grant County off to the west. As we get towards 2 o'clock in the morning, some dots of thunderstorms from Boscoville down to Mineral Point. They sweep to the Madison area right around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Can't rule out one of these storms getting a little on the feisty side with some small hail or maybe an isolated severe storm, but that is a very tiny chance. The showers and thunderstorms quickly sweep through. Look at the winds roaring in from the south and from the west by 10 o'clock in the morning. That's a warm front that's coming through and really going to warm up temperatures. And that hail threat is there. It's very low, but it's not zero. So I just want to call that out, that it's not going to be out of the question that you might wake up to some small hail tomorrow morning. Warm front comes through. Temperatures get into the mid, maybe upper 70s, especially if the clouds clear out sooner. Then we eye up the rain chances Saturday going on into Sunday. We'll be upping the bar here up to washout for Sunday. Taking a look at some of our latest weather models. Here's that front settling to the south, 7 o'clock Saturday morning, right across the Madison area. An early high temperature, and the winds then flip and come out of the north and east. That pulls that cold air off Lake Michigan in. Temperatures fall, widespread rain by 6 o'clock. As we go into Sunday, I want you to take note here of the difference. Stretching from Prairie du Chien to Madison to Watertown, winds are out of the east, but just south, Monroe, Darlington, Janesville, the winds are out of the south. You might just briefly get in to the warm part of that weather system on Sunday, and that would be an area of suspect for the potential for severe weather. The First Warn Weather Team will be keeping a close eye on that, just debriefing folks for keeping an eye on that throughout the course of the next 2 days here. Then everything changes over to a mix and then over to snow. Wet snow, slushy accumulations are not out of the question, but it'll be a quick and it will end by the time we get into early Monday. 1, 2, 3 inches of water out of this weather event. I think 2 to 4 inches of snow is a little bit overdone. Probably 1 to 2 inches of that slushy stuff that melts very, very quickly. But all in all, again, we need the water. Still have a moderate drought for areas near the Mississippi and along the Wisconsin-Illinois border, but for parts of the area, we've cleared out. So we've had some improvement with the drought monitor, and no doubt we're going to continue to see improvement with all the water that's on the way. Of course, we got a big day in Milwaukee. Temperatures around 40, but that morning, again, is going to start off a little bit on the chilly side with those snow showers ending. Next chance of rain, and it's a good chance, Tuesday going into Wednesday.
Welcome back. It is opening day for baseball and the Brewers as they look to get back to the playoffs.
The road begins today in their first test for the season to date with the New York Yankees. The Bronx Bombers in New York. It was not Milwaukee's day. The Yankees get the 4-2 win. Third baseman for the Brewers, Vinny Capra, hit a solo home run at his debut with the crew. The Brewers will look to even the series tomorrow. First pitch is 12:05. And as Major League Baseball teams play on opening day, the concession workers are getting ready to feed all those hungry mouths.
That's right. Bo Evans spent the day learning what it takes to sell hot dogs in Texas.
Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. We're gonna learn the whole process of how to sell beer here.
Ice cold beer here.
Don't think twice, I got them sitting in the ice.
I feel very official. When fans get here, we're gonna start slanging some beers, and then after that, we're gonna sell a few hot dogs.
Right there. Come on in.
It's always been my dream to sell beer.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good.
I like to drink it, so why not sell it?
Might as well.
Smash it?
Smash it.
I love smashing ice. Gotta keep these beers cold, man. We're ready, baby. I'm ready to slang some cans. Woo. I'm already tired. Gotta stretch it out, man. Get some lunges in. Gotta get loose. That thing's heavy. You wanna make sure you're all limbered up.
So what you want to do is lay them out.
Bud Lights, Bud Heavy. My man knows his way around a bucket.
Right there.
Oh, can't go to the ballpark without the nuts.
Just take it right here and then pop. Pop, just like that. There you go.
You know, I've been cracking beers for a long time, but not normally for other people.
I just go cold beer.
Cold beer.
They'll start walking by. Water, soda. I just try to chat them up.
How we doing? Yeah?
Ice cold.
You need anything? We got cold beer.
Cold beer.
Cold beer. You guys look like you need a beer. Cold beer. This is the coldest beer in the whole stadium. Drink responsibly. We got water. We got snacks. You come here, you think the beer sells itself, but I'm out here working. How we doing? How we doing? You gotta be careful. Who needs a beer? This beer ain't gonna drink itself.
Number 6, John Young.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. In the koozie. All right. up we go. How we doing, folks? It's not easy. It's heavy. It's weighing on my neck. I did not think slinging beer would be that hard, honestly. Whew. If the beer doesn't sell, I'm worried about the dogs. We're gonna sell some hot dogs. Let's do it. Hey, folks, who needs a hot dog? 1, 2, 3.
He's been waiting for a hot dog.
Let him get a dog! Let's go! I got you, brother.
Thank you.
Jumbo hot dogs! 5, 6, 7. Is that a dinger? That's number 10, baby! Yeah! Oh my God, I'm selling so many more hot dogs than beer. Dingers! You need a dog! Jumbo hot dogs! I'm sweating. I'll tell you what, man, this is hard work. How are we gonna get over there? Cold beer. That's it. We're sold out. It's a lot of steps, it's a lot of work. It ain't easy selling dogs and slinging beer.
So, Frankie, you gonna do that next week at
I'd do that.
the
I'm going to
Brewers?
be at opening day on Monday. I don't think they'll let me in.
Just saying.
What do you think a beer costs? The average price of a beer at a Major League Baseball stadium
$7.
as of last year.
$7.
Not bad. It's $8, and at Miller Park it was $8.72
Okay.
last year. AmFam Field, my bad. I still call it Miller Park.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Especially after a beer story. We're going to get that Miller Brewing Company thing in there. But opening day is Monday,
Yeah.
so they're getting ready over in Milwaukee for all that fun stuff as well. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
And Alex, final check on the weather.
In a couple hours, it's going to be rumbling outside across southern Wisconsin, so get ready for a quick area of thunderstorms developing in southwest Wisconsin. Right around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning is when that's going to likely get going. Reaching the Madison area by approximately 4 or 5 o'clock. Could have some small hail and some vivid lightning with this, so don't be surprised to wake up to some loud rumblers. And then as we get a little bit further into the morning, we have winds come out of the southwest. That's that warm front coming through, a real warm day in store on Friday. Then we cool off as we go on into Saturday, going on into Sunday. Rain is likely Saturday. Could be looking at 1, 2, 3 inches of rain by the time this weekend is done. Keeping a close eye on Sunday, Janesville over towards Beloit, over towards Elkhorn. You might get in the warm part of the storm and there could be some severe weather. And then that turns over to snow on Sunday night.
All right.
Alex, thanks. We'll be back for News 3 Now at 10 after the game over on Channel 3, Duke in Arizona. They're in the second half right now. We'll see you then. Thanks for joining us.